Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical Sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee will explore all these and more on Eros Evolution on OMTimes Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Eros Evolution. This is where sex and spirit meets. And my name is Dr. Martha Tara Lee. I'm a clinical sexologist based in Singapore, and my company is called Eros Coaching. That's eroscoaching.com. In today's show, we'll be talking about Orgasmic Yoga. This is where masturbation and meditation meets. And I'll tell you more about Orgasmic Yoga as we go along with this show. But before that, I want to tell you that this is the month of May, and May is Masturbation Month. And it originally started as a result of Jocelyn Elders, who was the General Sergeant in the United States. She was fired from her job when she talked about masturbation being something that is normal and needed to be part of the sexuality education curriculum. This was controversial, and therefore she was fired. And as a protest, sex shop Good Vibrations decided to honor her by making May Masturbation Month. Since then, it has become International Masturbation Month, and for the last 3 years I have been running a Masturbation Month campaign, and this being the 4th year, I did come together with my colleague Robbie Vogel, and we declared this week Make Love Week that has been the 14th to the 20th of May. And today would be the last day of Make Love Week. So if you're interested to get the free interviews that we created as part of our Tele-Summit, you can sign up to them at makeloveweek.com. Make Love Week consists of 14 different interviews with different love and relationship and sex experts, and we are really getting the gems from them with this short 20-minute interview each. So in this 20-minute, we have like maybe 3 questions or so, and we really get what they're most passionate about along the theme of making love. When I talk about making love, it's pretty general. It's not really sex per se. It's really more about love with yourself, for yourself, and then in turn having a better life with people in your life. It can be in the form of relationships with not just your lover, but your friends and your family. So sign up for Make Love Week, and you're at the tail end of the week. However, we'll be releasing bonus as a bonus. We'll be releasing all the videos for one special day only, and also there's also the option of purchasing them. I did mention Make Love Week in my previous episodes of Eros Evolution, so if you missed it, this is probably going to be your last chance to get some of the interviews. So now that I've explained how this is the month of masturbation, and I'm doing Make Love Week, I now want to shift our attention to Orgasmic Yoga. And Orgasmic Yoga could be something that you can do as a part of Masturbation Month. And starting from the 22nd of May, which is in 2 or 3 days, depending which part of the world you're at, what's going to happen is I'm going to be going on this Masturbation Month campaign. And in Orgasmic Yoga, it's a practice where you're encouraged to masturbate for 30 minutes for 30 days. And this new cycle of Orgasmic Yoga is going to start on the 22nd of May for myself. What I've done is last year I wrote a book called Orgasmic Yoga, and I created a Facebook group called Orgasmic Yoga, the book, on Facebook. And I encourage you to just key in Orgasmic Yoga, the book, on Facebook, and then you can join this group. When you join this group, you'll be able to see all the different posts by people sharing what their 30-day journey is like. So day 1 of 30, this is what I did. Day 2, and the next cycle is going to start on the 22nd of May, as I mentioned. So I really like to invite you to join the group. Even if you're not planning to do the 30 days, you can actually just join and follow the journeys of the people who will be documenting it, myself included. Also, you're going to get lots of inspiration and insights about different ways in which you can pleasure yourself and the transformations that happen when you begin to go deep within yourself. So a little bit more about this practice, Orgasmic Yoga. Why 30 minutes and why 30 days? As any practice, it doesn't have to be limited to 30 days, just like your yoga practice doesn't have to be 30 days. However, it's just a recommended duration, and you're not restricted definitely to 30 days. If you can't do 30 days, you could commit to maybe 7 days, if not 7 days, 3 days as a minimum. And this is really the time that you're putting aside as a form of investment into yourself. Okay, so why 30 minutes then? Just like anything we do, if we do this for a period of time, the quality of it does change. We shift from resistance and being in our heads to being more into flow and being really coming back to our bodies. So think of running, or maybe going to the gym and doing a workout. The first few minutes is usually the ones where you feel the most inertia, the most internal dialogue that you have with yourself, where you're bitching and like, I hate this, I hate my life, why am I doing this? And the reason why we go back to exercising is we know from past experience the benefits, the adrenaline rush, the endorphins that are being released in our bodies. We feel good, remember it, but yet the starting is hard. But once we started being on that treadmill or start running on the pavement, our body remembers the movement, and after some time, when we stop fighting with our minds, we just go into flow. And it is when we are in flow that the magic happens, where we actually go into a form of meditation, because once our body remembers the movements, it becomes an automatic response, and then we actually get creative during that time. We might go into wondering about our day and our life and all these things, but then there's also those moments where we're not thinking of anything, and this is when meditation starts to happen. So if we can do walking meditation, running as a form of meditation, dance as a form of meditation, why not when we are masturbating? So the quality of masturbation as being something that we just do to get off, do it as quickly as possible, becomes more than mindful masturbation. And this is when masturbation meets with meditation. So 30 minutes is really what's required, and this is when it really is the time that we need to get into it and really let go our thoughts and really truly come back into our bodies. This is when all your fears and resistance will come up, and it is really important to notice and to not judge, but just let go, just like meditation. So I've explained a little bit about what Orgasmic Yoga is. 30 minutes, 30 days. Why 30 minutes? Why 30 days is recommended? And when I explain this to people, they really have lots of protests. I'm going to go into it in the next segment. And I just want to say that treat Orgasmic Yoga as not something you have to do. Treat it as something that you choose to do. Treat it as a practice, just like yoga. Treat this as something that you have put aside because you are important, that your relationship with yourself is important, loving yourself is important before you go and serve people, save the world, help people. Think of loving yourself as the ultimate gift that you can give to the world. And this act of loving yourself is this time you put aside to nourish yourself, to replenish yourself. And so it's less about just do it and get it over with and still see the benefits. It has everything to do with the intention behind it, meaning loving, nurturing. So treat this as something that is beneficial for you, and let go of resentment, resistance as much as possible. So we have a break, and I'm going to talk more about Orgasmic Yoga after this break.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners and give a message from Spirit about the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, join Carrie each Monday at 3 p.m. on Vibe Nation Radio.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
And welcome back to Eros Evolution. This is where sexuality and spirituality meets. You're listening to Eros Evolution on the OMTimes Radio Network, and you can share this show with your friends right now by going to this link, omtimes.com/mobile. With this link, you can listen to the show without needing to download any app. It's really convenient and cool. We're talking about orgasmic yoga today. I don't have any guests, but I decided to talk about it because May is Masturbation Month. And also I'm starting the next cycle of Orgasmic Yoga on the 22nd of May. For 30 days, I'll be sharing my Orgasmic Yoga journey in my Facebook group, Orgasmic Yoga, the book. So you can join the group, follow my journey, and also the journey of other people who will be doing this alongside with me. And if you are also interested to listen to this, you can actually go to YouTube and you can key in Orgasmic Yoga Zoom, and you will be able to find my interview with two of my colleagues talking about Orgasmic Yoga as well. So my colleagues, Victoria and John, both of them are sexological body workers. So one is in the US and one is in the UK. And the three of us got together and talked about what is Orgasmic Yoga, how it has changed our lives, and different ways in which you can do Orgasmic Yoga. And we also talked about this invitation, inviting people to join this journey. So a little bit more about Orgasmic Yoga. One of the common protests that people have is, I can't possibly do 30 minutes. Yes, you can. If you are a habitual masturbator who does it in under 5 minutes, then prolonging it to 30 minutes can feel like torture. And it was that way for me when I first was told that this was my homework. I was doing the sexological bodywork training, and we were introduced to Orgasmic Yoga, and we had to do it a minimum of 3 days, and even then I was really unhappy about it. And I talked about it in the previous episode as well, where I was with Kevin Jesse 2 episodes ago, or was it 1? And we really I had this protest because I'm very sensitive in my body, so I can have an orgasm really easily, and then I just get on with my day, just like a lot of men and women. And so what happens is that with this, knowing that you have 30 minutes now, you would logically, you would go a lot slower. You would be a lot softer with yourself, gentler, and perhaps move away from feeling that you must attain an orgasm. So Orgasmic Yoga, despite the name, is not about the orgasm. It's not called Orgasm Yoga, it's Orgasmic Yoga. And it's about feeling sensations and pleasure in your body. It's about the orgasmic sensation and being in the start of the sexual response cycle versus how many orgasms can I have in 30 minutes. It's not a race, it's not a rush. And when it comes to men, they often say, I can't last 30 minutes. It's not about ejaculation, it's not about orgasm. After the orgasm or ejaculation, if you have one, you can still continue. It's a choice. And the 30 minutes is less about the ejaculation. So for Orgasmic Yoga, if you're going to self-pleasure for 30 days, for men especially, you definitely do not want to be ejaculating every day. You want to hold back your ejaculation for men, and you want to focus more on the sensation. So for women, it's believed that women don't lose energy the same way men do. When we have our orgasm, for women, we generally feel quite fine, and women are much more likely to be multi-orgasmic anyway. So it's okay for women to have orgasms when they do Orgasmic Yoga. For men, it's not about the ejaculation, it's about the orgasmic sensation. And I assure you, this practice will change your life. I want to talk about how it has changed my life. And I have talked about this many times. The first time I was introduced to Orgasmic Yoga, I did it for 3 days. I did it in a very superficial way. I was quite resentful. I had a lot of homework when I was doing Orgasmic. I was doing the training, sexological body work, and so so Orgasmic Yoga was just part of the many homework that I had. So I just did it in a very really superficial way, and just like didn't treat this very seriously. It didn't give it the attention that it deserved. Then when I went through my second divorce, this was like 5 years ago, I was really heartbroken, and I was really devastated, and I was really depressed. And a friend of mine that I caught up with reminded me that I shouldn't shut down my sexual energy, especially since I'm a sexologist, especially since I work with people who have a lot of sexual inhibitions and repression and pain. And I'm really their role model, and so I really need to be a clean and clear channel when it comes to sex. So she said, Martha, do not shut down your sexuality, and she suggested that I do Orgasmic Yoga. And so I did. I did Orgasmic Yoga for 30 minutes for 1.5 months actually, and within the first week, so much shifted within my body and within my heart that I was glowing. I was literally glowing. I could feel this glow radiating off my face and my whole body, and I was getting stares. I was getting stares from men on the streets as I walked down it, and I'm really baffled because I don't ever get stares, much less when I'm feeling depressed. But it was really amazing. I was sad, but feeling better and better each day as I did Orgasmic Yoga. I was also exercising, and that really helped me to overcome the worst of the heartbreak that I was feeling. So we can definitely use orgasmic energy to heal ourselves. After I did that cycle of 1.5 months, I then did it another few more times. I would say by now, maybe 4 or 5 times now. And each time I've done it, I have deepened my relationship with myself. I have loved myself more and more each time. And I'm noticing that my body is becoming more and more sensitive. That when you do it for 30 days, not all of the energy that dissipates in the next 24 hours. Some of that energy still is in your body and carries through to the next day. And therefore, I become more sensitive the next day and more sensitive the day after. And so what happens is I become more creative. I decide to try different ways to prolong, experiment with orgasmic energy. I become gentler with myself, and this also becomes a way of life. I become gentler with myself in my life outside of Orgasmic Yoga. And when I'm gentler with myself, and I'm more in flow and less angst about me, everything just flows much easier. So as I start documenting about Orgasmic Yoga, I find that I cannot just document what I'm doing in the bedroom. I start documenting how my life is changing, how I have more ease, more flow, more abundance, more money even coming into my life each time I do Orgasmic Yoga. And there's just so much gratitude and grace that is coming into my life every time I do it. And it's just like life, right? Putting aside 30 minutes, it's an investment, and it's really not that sustainable continuously for forever and ever. So I just have a start date and an end date, and I do as much as I can during the time. I try to inspire people to also work on themselves as I work on myself, and my life changes. So this is really how Orgasmic Yoga has changed me. It's helped me to be more patient with myself, to be more love, and because I have more love of myself, I no longer act out in ways that are harmful or non-beneficial to myself. So I used to feel that I can only get sex with someone, but with Orgasmic Yoga, it's really about being with myself and being okay with being myself. For those of you who are in partner relationships, you might think, well, I already have a partner, I don't need to do this. No, you can still have sex with your partner, and on top of that, in addition to that, still do your Orgasmic Yoga. And if anything, this is really separate, even though it's about orgasm and orgasmic energy. So think about it. We shower once a day. That's really self-care. It's kind of like non-negotiable. We shower because we want to be clean. We brush our teeth because that's just part of grooming and hygiene. And so when it comes to loving yourself, this half hour is just a non-compromisable thing. And everything else on top of that, sex with your partner, that's just bonus, that's just additional. It's not going to take away from your partner. In fact, it's going to change the way you look and feel around sex. And the way you guys have sex may also change because you are breaking habits and routine, really. And so you don't have to feel that just because I'm partnered, I don't have to do it. I have had people who are sexual with their partners and still doing Orgasmic Yoga and still agreed with me that they were able to see in a different way that it's really about self-nurturing, as I mentioned. Okay, so now that I've talked about Orgasmic Yoga, how it's changed my life, and the benefits of it, I want to talk about the ways you can do Orgasmic Yoga after this break.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know, I tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Simone Milicis would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
And welcome back to Eros Evolution, where today we're talking about Orgasmic Yoga. And I want to read to you an article that I'm looking at on Huffington Post, and it's by Pamela Madsen, my colleague, who is also a sexuality educator, and she is also a trained sexological body worker. And in her article, How to Reclaim Your Sexual Voice Through Orgasmic Yoga, she describes it as a pleasurable, intimate, and transformative discipline that is practiced while sexually aroused. And the goal is to develop or reclaim erotic capacities. Some individuals practice it to reawaken the awesome feelings in their body. Others practice it to discover those feelings for the first time. Taking the time to participate in a mindful, planned, solo erotic practice allows the individual to focus on what is substantial in their sexuality rather than what is superficial. And the practice was developed and coined by Joseph Kramer, one of my teachers, and also the one who created Sexological Bodywork. And he founded Body Electric School in 1984, and he's trained thousands of professional masseurs and erotic body workers. So in 1992, he started Eros Spirit Research Institute as a think tank exploring the connection between spirit and sexuality, and in 1999 he founded the New School of Erotic Touch, where he has dozens of educational DVDs teaching erotic touch, which is available on his site. And you can also find some of the videos on my website under products, eroscoaching.com. And if you really want to read more about Orgasmic Yoga, be sure, and this is a must, it's a really good book because I wrote it, and it's called Orgasmic Yoga, Masturbation, Meditation, and Everything in Between. And I'm going to read you what I wrote for my book. Orgasmic Yoga is an intimate way of stretching our capacity for pleasure. The premise is that an individual engages in solo sex or self-pleasuring for 30 minutes a day for 30 days recommended as a suitable duration. Besides recommending 30 unique daily practices in my book, it will introduce you to 7 tools that will allow you to have a more ecstatic life. They include pelvic floor exercises, breath, sound, movement, touch, intention, and fantasy. So these are the 7 things that will help you to have a better, stronger, longer, more consistent orgasms in your life. And I want to talk now about the different ways in which you can do orgasmic yoga. And as you begin to know, these are the 7 things that you could do. So pelvic floor exercises, also known as Kegels. And these are the muscles that we squeeze when we're trying to stop ourselves from peeing. If we have strong muscles, then we can actually feel more sexual energy, and we can be very conscious of being able to move the energy from our genitals to the rest of our body. So it acts like a pump. And so it's the sensation that you feel when you feel like peeing, but you don't have to do it when you feel like peeing. So you just remember how that contraction feels. So it's about the squeezing and the relaxing of your pelvic floor muscles. Or for some people, it's really difficult to focus on the whole region. So maybe just squeezing your anus and relaxing it for a start. And then as you start doing more and more Kegels, your muscles actually become stronger, and you begin to feel the subtle differences with the whole pelvic floor region. And it's fine. You just start by doing squeezing and releasing, squeezing and releasing. And I call this frequency. So it's when you do as many as you can. Then you can go on to duration. So this is when you squeeze and you hold between 3 to 15 seconds. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then release. So that's, I call it duration. And then the third way of doing Kegels is when you do what I call intensity. In intensity, how you do it is you squeeze and you hold, and you squeeze really, really, really hard So I call this intensity. It's very similar to when we're lifting weights. The different ways of doing it. In weightlifting, we call it repetition. Then we call it, I don't know what else to call it, but repetition. Then I call this duration. You hold for a longer time, and then you squeeze that weight that you're holding, or barbell you're holding, all the way until you feel the burn. So these are just 3 very basic ways of doing Kegels that I teach all the time. And as your muscle starts to feel stronger, you actually begin to feel more sensation in your body. And it's highly recommended for men and women. Lots of men do not realize that they can and should be doing pelvic floor exercises or Kegels. And that's one of the ways in which you can vary the way you do orgasmic yoga. So if you're going to be doing this for 30 minutes, why not add a few pelvic floor squeezes? Instead of just being in habit and lying still and not moving your pelvis, why not start moving your pelvis? Why not start shaking your hips or thrusting your hips back and forth? Why not do it when you're sitting or standing instead of lying down? And if you sit or stand all the time, why not lie down while you're pleasuring yourself? So it's really about breaking routine and habit. And as you begin to do that, what happens is you're creating all these different neuroplasticity in your body. What it means is you're creating different pathways between your mind and your body. And what happens is your body actually becomes a lot more adaptable and flexible when it comes to having sex. You become more creative, not just in the bedroom, but also in your life, because there is a huge link between how we are in the bedroom and how we are in our lives. So this is why every time I do orgasmic yoga, my life becomes better for it. I become more creative, more inspired, and I really do feel a lot more happier, and I definitely look better. I'm more attractive, and therefore I attract. Okay, talking about pelvic floor and different positions we can be in. One simple way in which you can do orgasmic yoga in a different way is to perhaps do it in front of the mirror. And we can feel quite self-conscious about looking at ourselves. However, this is how our lover, our partner, would be looking at. And we should get used to how we look when we have sex with ourselves, because anybody who's having sex looks fantastic. They have this glow about them. And the more we are able to embrace all of ourselves, including the way we look when we have sex, the more joy, compassion, pleasure we can have in our lives. And it's really quite healing. And it's very difficult for me to describe. It's really something that you have to do for yourself. And I really have to say that your relationship with yourself really does change, and it really deepens. I strongly encourage doing self-pleasuring in front of the mirror, whether you're sitting or standing in front of the mirror. And I also suggest looking at your genitals and how they start to change color and shape and size. And this is pretty fascinating, actually, if you haven't done it, because we don't look at ourselves in that way. And if we just look at all the subtle changes that happens in our body as we are pleasuring ourselves, I think we will have a lot more admiration and fascination with our own bodies. So that's another way. Another way is also to incorporate sound. A lot of us are quite quiet when we're masturbating, because I describe masturbation as something we do quietly, quickly, and secretly. There's a lot of shame and guilt around masturbation. There's some people who believe that masturbation is something that's pathetic. You only do it because you don't have a partner. And a lot of these myths and misconceptions really doesn't aid us in having a healthy, positive, loving a relationship with ourselves when it comes to our sex life. And so taking the time really helps you to work through all this shame and guilt and any negative emotions that does come up. And sometimes the things that come up for me is not really relating to sex because I have worked on myself so much. Sometimes what comes up is sadness and pain from past relationships, and it's fine. You just need to trust that your body is not going to let anything that you can't deal with to come up. And you can also make a decision that you're not going to let anything that comes up hurt you, and you always have the permission to stop. You don't have to push yourself more than you can bear, and it's really about gentleness. So making sounds help. So if you don't make sounds, suggest maybe giving yourself the intention of making a sound and being comfortable with making a sound first before you think of making two sounds. And just even a quiet moan is better than no sound. And for those people who make lots of noises during masturbation, maybe a challenge would be to make no sound. So it's just about being creative and shaking it up. Then there's touch. We always touch ourselves in the same way. How about touching your breast or your chest while also touching your genitals or holding your genitals and another part of your body while you are pleasuring. It's also very important to do the 5 minutes of savoring at the end of orgasmic yoga. So this is the part where in yoga you just lie still in corpse position and you don't move, and you just let all that sensation just integrate into your body. In orgasmic yoga we have that 5 minutes of savoring at the end. And it's a little bit like keeping yourself clean and clear. You don't want to have all this energy running through your body and you go into the next thing and you're carrying that energy and charge into it. And you don't realize that you bring all this excitement and it may not be the effect that you want. So the savoring really helps you to calm down and integrate. So more after this break about orgasmic yoga.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Are you wondering what is really going on behind the news? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share on the Air Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us on shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for. Check it out.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
And I'm Alicia Isaacs-Howes.
And I'm Catherine Glass.
And we're the Psychic Angel Channelers. You can find us every week here on OMTimes Radio at Angel Talk Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
and welcome back. This is Martha. I'm a clinical sexologist based in Singapore, and my company is called Eros Coaching. You can find me at eroscoaching.com. Today we're talking about Orgasmic Yoga, and we are into the last 15 minutes of this show. So I want to be sure to remind you to check out Orgasmic Yoga, the book, on Facebook. Just key in Orgasmic Yoga, the book, as a search, and you'll be able to find this Facebook group. And in this group, I will be documenting my 30-day Orgasmic Yoga journey, and alongside a few other people who have committed to doing it, and certainly suggest that you do the 30-day Orgasmic Yoga challenge as well, which starts on the 22nd of May. Also, I'm doing Make Love Week with Robbie Virgo, and this is a tele summit where we're interviewing 14 different love and sex experts, and there's 2 every day, and today is actually the last day, but if you sign up right away, you will be able to get some of the videos still, and of course there's also the option of purchasing all the videos, and the bonus that we have is downloadable transcripts, because I really wanted it to happen, because not everybody is auditory, and some people are visual like myself, and so they will appreciate having the transcript, and that will save them a lot of time as well. So Make Love Week, and we're doing all this Orgasmic Yoga 30 days, Make Love Week, as part of Masturbation Month in May. So don't let May pass you by without having at least one orgasm. And so far I've talked about what is Orgasmic Yoga. I've talked about how Orgasmic Yoga has changed my life. I've given you some ideas of how to do Orgasmic Yoga. And I also want you to check out the YouTube interview that I did with 2 of my colleagues. And it's a Zoom interview that we did. It's great. It was great fun, and you can tell from the interview that we have a lot of love and admiration for each other and each other's work. And so John is from the UK, and then there's Victoria from the US, and then there's myself from Singapore. And so it was really awesome. It was really cool hanging out with them and talking about something that has really coming together for a good cause, and that is Orgasmic Yoga. And as a last shout out, don't forget, I wrote the book Orgasmic Yoga, and it's my second book, Orgasmic Yoga, which you will be able to order on Amazon. The 2 versions, there's the hard copy, and then there's the Kindle version that you could order, and it's really at a steal, because it's really, really affordable. And in my book, I do cover a lot more about how you could do Orgasmic Yoga. I suggest 30 different practices, and I go quite in depth into 7 different ways you can have stronger, longer, more consistent orgasms, and they include pelvic floor exercises, breath, sound, movement, touch, intention, and fantasy. Even though I talk about fantasy in my book, I do make it very clear that fantasy is a way in which we can have more orgasms and more pleasure. However, in Orgasmic Yoga, we strongly encourage not using fantasy. Is it possible? Yes. Yes, men, it's possible. Trust me. A lot of men are so used to watching porn during masturbation that they actually find it really difficult to be completely present and intentional when they're with partner. So if you can't be present with yourself when you're masturbating, how much easier or harder is it when you're with your partner? So Orgasmic Yoga is completely intentional, being in the moment, feeling, noticing sensation in your body, moving from head to your body, focusing on being in the moment, and therefore fantasy is not encouraged. That's not to say we don't, but this is just to say try. And just like anything, it does get easier with practice, just like yoga, just like meditation. What happens is you're stretching that muscle in your body, you're challenging yourself, and it does become easier, and it's entirely possible. So for the men out there who are still thinking, no, it's not possible, let me ask you, do you think women fantasize about other men during sex? A lot of women just are so in the moment during sex. They are in their hearts and they really want to connect with their partner. And women more than men don't fantasize during sex. Men use fantasy as a way of thinking that it helps prolong their erection or ejaculation. No, it actually doesn't work. What does help is the opposite, which is being entirely and completely intentional with being in the moment. And when I describe this to women all agree that they have had moments where they were in sexual union with their partner, they were being penetrated sexually, and their partner was just not there. He was somewhere else in his head, worried about his erection, but he was just not emotionally connected to her. And women can tell when the man is not present. What more when the man is penetrating her? Like, make no lies to yourself, man. Women do know when you are not there. And so, if you want to be a good lover, you need to practice being in the moment. So that's the reason why in Orgasmic Yoga, treat this as a practice. Try to be in the moment. Okay, so I talked about some of the ways you can do Orgasmic Yoga, and I want to talk about different ways now. This touch, like I mentioned just now, this intention. At the start of Orgasmic Yoga, 30 minutes, set an intention. This is what I'm going to do today. This is what I want to focus on today. Today I don't want to ejaculate. Today I don't want to have an orgasm. Today I don't care about the orgasm. Today I want to move sexual energy to my heart, and I'm going to let go of the memory of childhood bullying, for instance. And it can be done. And you can set the intention. I'm going to do some white sex magic. I'm going to bring all this sexual energy that I generate during this session and heal my dog, or let it go towards healing Mother Earth, or let me send this energy to my friend who is going through a divorce. So you can actually send your orgasmic energy, which is a very powerful energy, to the greater good of mankind. And of course, I often say this, if you don't believe that it works, then try it by sending it back to yourself. So notice how that feels when you have an orgasm as usual, and then have a session where you set the intention to send the orgasmic energy back to yourself and notice what you feel. I've done it. And I feel different. I feel different when I send the orgasmic energy back to myself. It just feels much bigger and more powerful. And I certainly recommend this to people, because if you don't buy into something, then why do it? And certainly we often love, help, give to other people, and we don't give it to ourselves. So why are we not sending orgasmic energy back to ourselves? Orgasmic energy, where does it go? We lose all this energy, channel it somewhere. And it's a very powerful energy, as I mentioned. So try doing this, and in anything, anybody out there who's listening to this show, I believe you're a spiritual person. That's why you're even listening to this show in the first place. So if you believe in spirituality and how sex and spirit meets, then why are we not using our orgasmic energy for ourselves? Why are we not harnessing it for the greater good of mankind? And certainly we need to acknowledge play with, enjoy our sexual energy. So I talked about pelvic floor. Let's talk about breath. So the use of breath is also very important. Breathing deeper, making a full breath, a belly breath, breathing down to your toes. All these things are different ways in which we can play with our erotic energy. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of the show. I really want to just appreciate all of you for listening in today, and I hope you got a lot of value out of it. I would love to hear from you, and if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please drop me an email. You can find me at drmarthalee@eroscoaching.com, and you can connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, lots of all this social media, Pinterest channels that is available out there. And next week I have a different guest. I have a guest next week. Every week I have a guest, but some weeks it's just me, and some weeks I'm summarizing past episodes. And next week I'm going to be talking with my ex-schoolmate and colleague, and her name is Keisha Morgan, and we're going to be talking about her book called Heads Up. We're going to be talking about more than the blowjob. So Heads Up Beyond the Blowjob with Keisha Morgan next week at Eros Evolution. So stay tuned and have a good week. In the meantime, keep masturbating. It's Masturbation Month.